All right, guys, we have this breaking and developing story that I just had to get in on. I do apologize. I'm recording this from work, so I'm on my backup microphone, so it might sound a little funky, but just bear with me. The U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, I believe they're calling it, has been getting completely decimated by Trump's administration, and believe me, there are bigger implications at play here than you realize. It's not just about a government political thing. There are real-world effects this is having on video game journalism and the video game industry at large that we definitely need to cover. So, of course, you see this post from SmashJT that says, I'm telling you guys this GamerGate story is huge, and we'll get into that in just a minute. Much bigger than most think. And it's just a tiny sliver of the overall scandal. The USAID employed 10,000 people and gave billions away in U.S. taxpayer money every single year. The organizations it supported, oh man, as a U.S. citizen, this shit makes my blood boil. And what he's talking about is this post here from Wall Street Apes that has a linked video from Senator John Kennedy talking about the USAID. He says, I'll tell you what Mr. Musk discovered. I find it fascinating. He discovered that we gave taxpayer money to Afghanistan, no big surprise there, Yemen, Syria, that there are 10,000 employees at USAID, and that every year they give away 40 billion US taxpayer dollars. He found that the USAID gave money to support electric vehicles in Vietnam. Why? I don't know. USAID gave money to a transgender clinic in India. The USAID gave 1.5 million to a Serbian LGBTQ group. They got 1.5 million to, quote, advance diversity, equity, inclusion in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. And again, how that money is being spent, there's zero accountability for, and that's the most frustrating part. They found that USAID spent $164 million to support radical organizations around the world, $122 million of that to groups aligned with foreign terrorist organizations. It just gets better and better, guys. And this does not, unfortunately, seem like there's going to be an end in sight anytime soon until the entire thing is just turned on its head. But where this connects with the video game industry and, again, games media, we'll get into in just one second. You can see this post here from I Meme, Therefore I Am, saying, hey, Elon Musk, I don't mean to bother you, but the guy who doxed the Doge team and is targeting their parents to pressure them into keeping their kids in line still has doxed videos up on Instagram and LinkedIn. And this is a situation that's, again, currently evolving where there are several people, both, I'm not sure if they're both members of the media or not, one of them is, doxing members of the Doge team itself. Aesthetica says this is the doxer at the Wall Street Journal who doxed the Doge team member and got him fired. She worked at Business Insider, who have a history of doxing people, and she was funded by USAID. No big surprise there. It looks like she was hired solely to go after the Doge team. Catherine Long, this is the name of the journalist, says, I linked Doge staffer Marco Ellis to a deleted X account that advocated repealing the Civil Rights Act, backed a eugenic immigration policy, and wrote, you could not pay me to marry outside my ethnicity. He just resigned. Okay. This is a good time to note that I started at Wall Street Journal last week. If you work with or around Doge, I'd love to speak with you. So this woman is just trying to dig through the dirt of anybody who works at Doge because this is what these people are needing. They're relying on government subsidized taxpayer dollars in order to survive. Let's see. Solianath on Twitter says, in case you were wondering, the answer is yes. The journalist who doxed the Doge staffer pushed for wokeness and diversity in video games. Says the video game industry still needs to reckon with its lack of diversity by Catherine Long back in 2021. So guys, the thing is, what we are seeing in real time is a massive overlap between journalists, both in the political realm as well as the games journalists, where they are trying to push the message in every aspect and every avenue that they can. So you see this article from SmashJT saying U.S. government exposed backing journalists GamerGate attacks against gamers in massive scandal. Now this is pretty huge. The long and the short of it, what they have exposed is that Politico received over $8 million in taxpayer dollars through USAID and other government contracts. Where this relates to Gamergate and video games as a whole gets even better. It says, Grum's highlighted ex-user Anar Seldin, I can't pronounce that properly, I apologize, who shed light on how taxpayer money was being funneled into mainstream media to promote woke narratives and leading to directly attacking gamers. Says, nah, that can't be true. Searches, holy S, USAID paid Politico to have Gamergate smeared. And you can see all the headlines here, all the articles talking about, again, Gamergate and how it pertains to modern day politics and everything else. It's absolutely insane here. Search of Politico's archives reveals at least 22 articles on Gamergate, consistently framing it as a disinformation and harassment campaign while championing diversity initiatives in gaming. Again, talking about the weirdly political legacy of Ghostbusters, how Yang charmed the right on his road to political stardom, with, again, Gamergate being highlighted in every one of these articles about MAGA activists. Absolutely insane. People have wondered if our tax dollars were used to promote wokeness in video games. The answer is yes. And again, you can see these articles here talking about video games were never really the exclusive province of white male loners, but that's been the stereotype. And some players took that reputation seriously, so much that they organized a backlash to try to protect it. These people have one narrative, straight white male is bad, over and over and over again. This is why all journalists, with the exception of maybe a few, like a handful of them, in the mainstream press are scum. Let me see. It says, from, again, Wednesday's White House press briefing, Leavitt confirmed the immediate termination of Politico's taxpayer funding. Good. I was made aware of funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. The $8 million you received ends today. The Doge team is canceling these payments now. This is why these people are spurging out so hard, because of the fact that these people have all been propped up by U.S. subsidized taxpayer dollars, and all of these journalists, all of these organizations like Politico have been going after their perceived political opponents in whatever form and format they could, to the point where you see Carl Benjamin saying, I just wanted to play video games in response to charity funding to feminist frequency. Now, there's some context to this. There's a little bit of nuance we got to discuss because, like I said, this is an ever-developing situation, and a lot of people are running with stories that may not be accurate. So you see right here, feminist frequency 2023 contribution totals $235,000. The thing is, this is not from the government specifically. Sure, there might be some NGOs or some other charitable organizations that donated to this that got subsidized, funding from the government. But the reality is, it says government grants zeros, indirect government money is $6, total taxpayer dollars $6. That doesn't mean this $235,000 doesn't have any government spending in it. We just need to be careful how we spin things, because this right here does not prove that the USAID gave $235,000 to feminist frequency. You can even look through their tax filings for yourself if you want to. That is public information. It's out there. Another thing we're seeing is people saying that Sweet Baby Inc. was funded by USAID. This is not the same Sweet Baby Inc. This is a clothing company out of California that received funding during COVID. So again, not the exact same thing. However, what you are seeing is the bats coming out of the woodwork, the crazy, insane, lunatic journalists trying to defend the, again, spending of government money to push a narrative that straight white male gamers are evil. So Old Man Grim got these scrimshots. Says, oh, look, the crazy who said that she was only going to post my articles and streaming info on this hell site is at its Spurg posting again. And of course, we got Alyssa Mercante saying, this is a conspiracy theory that has already been debunked. Before someone like Musk took over, these bizarre anti-logic theories would fester in places like 8chan, where they eventually caused real-world, often violent action. Again, with no proof, no receipts. For people like Mark Kern and Jeff Tarzia, again, she likes to use Smash JT's full name. Again, she's also the same person who doxed him in a court filing. Conspiracy theories are their source of clout and income, so they spread them. It doesn't matter what the truth is out there. What matters is that they get you angry, then get your money. USAID is primarily responsible for administering civilian foreign aid and development assistance. It is common for new administrations to shift and change the scope of USAID. It is not common for them to make headline-grabbing, misleading statements about what USAID did prior. Again, she's simply freaking out because she knows that the funding is drying up for her buddies. Jay Viper says now Alyssa's back on X, just outright lying. USAID barely does any of what she's saying. Scott Pressler's been calling out USAID for years because it's mostly a giant slush fund masquerading as a foundation. Why do you think people like her are defending it and outraged over it being exposed? It funds their activist causes. Again, 100% true. See Smash JT pointing out that, again, Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't do what you think it did by Kotaku. Again, talking about these journalistic standards, Kotaku has been lying their ass off day after day, week after week, year after year. It'd be really interesting to see if they got any sort of support from USAID. George Alexopoulos saying now that USAID is dismantled, we won't get games like Forspoken anymore. Thanks a lot, jerks. But again, you can look up some of this information for yourself. It's absolutely insane the amount of money that has been spent and wasted from our government through USAID, including, like I said, left-leaning outlets like Politico that have smeared gamers. And again, people like Alyssa Mercante will come out of the woodworks to try to defend it because those are her buddies. Those are the people that she honestly is connected to, whether she likes it or not. She's, despite the fact that she's no longer at Kotaku, she is still saddled with those people until she is no longer relevant. So I'm gonna leave it right there, guys. Share your thoughts on all this. This is an absolutely insane developing situation. I cannot wait to see what happens, and I will catch you guys on the next one.